Good morning. You are listening to National Real Estate Auction Radio. I am your host, Doug Dennison, and we are broadcasting from beautiful St. Augustine, Florida, the nation's oldest city at WFOY 1240 AM studios. Through the power of the Internet, this program is being streamed worldwide on 1240news.com. The show will also be archived on RowellAuctions.com, as they are the host of this program. Additionally, the show will be posted on YouTube.com. We're going to be talking about real estate auctions. We're going to be talking about past auctions, upcoming auctions, different real estate markets across the country. We've got a lot of topics today. To help us out, we've asked several real estate and auction leaders calling in to let us know their VIP information and insider stuff that they know because they work it every day. The first guest will be Bruce Kassman, who's Senior Vice President of Colliers at Aug Wood Fay in Miami, Florida. Second guest is Walter House of House Auction Company in Marshallburg, North Carolina. Third guest will be Walter Liff from Action Auctions in Newcastle, New Hampshire. And we're also going to have somebody from Moultrie, Georgia, the Rowell Auction Gang. We'll be talking about their upcoming auctions. So pleased to have a great show and people calling in today. The reason we do this show is to provide an educational experience for listeners in a promotional format for auctions across the country. We've been doing this, I believe, for 4 or 5 months now. We've had more than 70, 80 VIP real estate auction guests that call in, and we've appreciated that. One of the things that kind of exciting that I may discuss in and out of this program is that there's an auction bill being considered by the Senate and House. They're preparing it, which will be auctioning, trying to sponsor a bill that will be auctioning unused government property, surplus property. And I've been on the show, again, talking about the opportunities and the importance of having people really get behind this. There's unused properties that the government has, and they're just sitting there. And they're not really sitting there. What they're doing is they're costing us money. They're costing us money in the fact that there's upkeep, there's vandalism, the properties are in deterioration. And secondly, if they are in the hands of the end user, the taxpayer, now they're paying taxes into the government. So we're losing on two different posts there. So I'll talk more about that, but we've got our first caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hi, Doug. This is Bruce Kassman with Colliers International.
Very good, Bruce. Thank you for calling in. And tell us a little bit about where you're from, what you do. You're the Senior Vice President at Colliers, Aug Wood Fay in Miami, Florida. But tell us what you do in your position.
Okay. I'm with, as you mentioned, with Colliers International, and now the office is called Colliers International South Florida. Mm-hmm. I'm the Executive Vice President and receiver, so my primary role here is to provide a value-added service for our clients, both property owners as well as lenders, in the event of receivership needs, meaning that if there's a foreclosure, the court frequently appoints a receiver to take control of a property. We're kind of like the Red Cross. We come in between. We don't take sides with a lender or a borrower. We take control of the asset. We maintain it. We collect the rents. We do the best that we can do for all the parties involved while they work out the issues. Frequently, we're involved in actually working out those issues. Sometimes we get involved with selling of the assets or negotiating with the borrowers to try and work out a short sale or a reduced loan situation and make everything work for everybody. So we actually work for the courts and not either of the parties in our receivership role.
Okay. Well, I like your saying there. You're kind of like the Red Cross. That's a good one.
Thank you. Colliers International, Colliers South Florida as a whole is a commercial brokerage firm providing investment sales, leasing, property management, advisory and consulting services. Colliers International also has a division that provides independent division that's an appraisal company. So we run the gamut in the commercial real estate field.
Well, tell me about the width and scope of Colliers, because it's international as you just said. But how many agents? How many countries? I mean, it's amazing to go onto your website and find out all of the different offices and what you do.
Thank you. Colliers International is a global team of over 12,500 professionals.
Wow.
Operating out of 512 offices in 61 countries. In 2010, they had $59.6 billion in transaction value, which resulted in an annual revenue for the firm of $1.5 billion.
Wow.
In addition, we've got over 978 million square feet under property management.
So just enormous numbers. So again, it must be great to be part of that team and be part of being able to get help from every part of the country, not only selling but bringing buyers in, and you've got obviously investors that everybody works with, and seeing all the property that you list and work with is a great help to your clients.
Well, thank you. Yes, it is, and that's really the strength of the organization, is this international abilities that we work. Even though we're in separate markets, the company is fully integrated with multiple different websites and communications vehicles, so that if we in South Florida are looking for certain types of properties for our clients or certain types of financing or relationships, we can reach out literally with one communication to the entire global marketplace of Colliers representatives and professionals, and say, hey, we're looking for certain types of hotel properties across the globe or in certain markets, and we get feedback almost immediately from the other professionals, and in turn they do the same towards us. So it's really just a cohesive network of an organization. It's really fantastic, the depth and breadth of what they're doing and putting in place in terms of using the most latest and greatest technology to help facilitate sales and marketing and provide the best possible service for our clients.
Well, you guys are kicking it down there. I've worked with you before, and
Yeah.
in your group, and Michael Fay heads up your company and is considered a leader throughout the country and probably the world.
Yes,
in the Miami market, and so kudos to you. How did you get into real estate, Bruce?
Well, my background actually is as an attorney. I've practiced in New York, California, and Florida. I had a personal interest in real estate throughout my life, and so as my professional career, I started doing transactional real estate and business. Moved back to Florida after going to law school in Manhattan, went to New York Law School, and then after practicing a couple other states, moved back here and started practicing law and developed a real estate business practice. From there, I got involved with a very prominent developer in South Florida, Florida East Coast Realty. Built over 600 residential and commercial units in the downtown Miami and Coral Gables area, valued at almost just under $500 million in sales. We sold off a lot of those during the height of the market, ended up taking quite a number of them back and ended up leasing them, both commercial and residential. Built Class A office product in Coral Gables, and then from there established a relationship with Colliers, because Donna Booz, who's the Chief Executive Officer here, was working for me as our leasing agent in Coral Gables in a Class A property called 2020 Ponce, and through that relationship, my position here at Colliers evolved. So it was a very good situation.
Well, I guess so. I did not know that you were an attorney and had worked in New York and California and all those places. So you're teaching me stuff. Let's go back to where you and I kind of first met and worked a deal together, which I'm very proud of. Why don't you kind of go through that auction, and I can fill in where maybe I've got some facts and figures for you.
Absolutely. We're talking about the University Shops project, the
Yes.
122,000 square foot neighborhood shopping center in Miami. We first got involved with the project when our office was appointed as receiver by the Circuit Court down here in South Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Shortly after that, the debtor filed a Chapter 11 bankruptcy and became a debtor in possession, so we were responsible for overseeing that. And then a little bit after that, the borrower debtor filed a Chapter 7 was converted to a Chapter 7 bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm.
So we took
what's a Chapter 7 for our listeners? And again, our listeners are investors, general public, real estate people. Tell us what a Chapter 7 is.
The difference is a Chapter 11 means that the borrower or debtor in a bankruptcy situation is trying to reorganize. They're saying to the court, hey, I need another chance. I made some mistakes, and give me the benefit of this bankruptcy statute that lets me get rid of some of my debts and reorganize and survive. But they've got to have a viable plan to do that. They can't just say, I want to do it. They've got to show that it's feasible to be done.
Yep.
In this case, they were not able to do that. And so the case went from a Chapter 11, they call it converted, to a Chapter 7, which means basically the court has said, no, you can't, you're not going to survive, so we're going to appoint a trustee, somebody to oversee everything. And in our case, that we maintain that role because we had already been involved with it. And that entity or person comes in and starts to liquidate the assets.
Okay.
So whatever they can to generate money, first going to the secured creditors, the ones that have mortgages and liens, and then to the unsecured creditor if there's anything left. So that's where that went. And then that's how we got in. This originally was a $35 million purchase with a $25 million loan through a commercial mortgage-backed security lender. The lender stood to lose about $12 to $14 million based on the appraised value of the property. Through the bankruptcy court, we decided the best way to bring in cash here was to do an auction, and we reached out to you. Maybe I'll let you kind of jump in there and tell them a little bit about the auction process. And
Sure.
As well.
Well, we had worked with your firm before. We'd worked with John Crotty and Michael Fay and David Medalonis, and you and Steve Nostrin kind of reached out to us, and I'm the auction project manager for that firm at the time, and we were thrilled to be invited to the party, and we have had a history of doing large auctions specifically for bankruptcies in the South Florida area, and also throughout the country. And we just had a wonderful auction. It was a situation in the United States Bankruptcy Court where they had a stalking horse offer. And you're the attorney. Why don't you say what a stalking horse offer is?
That's somebody that comes in and says, I will pay. It's usually a low bid. It's not a great bid, but says, I will take the property for X dollars.
Okay.
Parties agree to go forward to the court and say, okay, this is kind of a minimum bid that we will accept. They're qualified. They've got to show that they can actually close the deal, have the cash available. So the court agrees, okay, that's kind of our starting point in the bidding process. And then we, through our means and your means, we widely market the auction, the date, the time, the parameters in terms of the qualifications for the investors, so that it's at the end of the day, there's someone who wins the auction, they're already pre-qualified to close the transaction. And then we move forward with a live auction in the bankruptcy court.
So the stalking horse offer is kind of like an insurance policy that it's kind of the start of the auction. If there's no bids, then we're going to have a sale, and it's with the stalking horse offer, and it goes from there. And what also happens is that if there's other bidding, and the stalking horse offer is outbid, usually there's a fee paid to the stalking horse offerer for that, or he can jump in and bid, but then he doesn't get that fee. Is that about right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. And so we had an auction. It was held in the bankruptcy court, in the United States Bankruptcy Court, in the federal courthouse in Miami. And we had 8 bidders that registered. Right. I think it was $250,000 that they had to have a cashier's check or wire into the attorney. The attorney was Joel Tavis, a prominent attorney in the Miami market for bankruptcies, and we just had a great auction. The terms of the sale are a little bit different than a normal auction because it kind of based on this is what the increments of the bidding were, and the increments of the bidding were $25,000. It could be raised, but a minimum of $25,000. I think everybody just kind of figured, okay, it's $25,000, and so it was probably one of the longest auctions for one property because we had 161 bids at that $25,000 increment, and it sold for $21 million.
Right. Which is fantastic.
Yes.
As we said, the original loan amount was $25 million, and we had anticipated a $12 to $14 million loss.
Yep.
And sold for only 4 less than the original loan amount. So everybody was quite pleased with their performance, and the process worked really well.
Well, I know you only do auctions, 2-3% of your time, but it was a thrill to work with you on that. And auctions work because everybody has the same terms and working from the same game plan, and competition sometimes and egos. I must admit that bidders have egos, and they don't like to be outbid, and they like to win, and that all works in the favor of the estate or the sellers. But enough of that. Tell us about the market, please, in your area.
Sure. Well, just from our experience, Colliers International, South Florida, just to give you a feel, over the past, over 2011, we've seen about $420 million in sales and leasing volume. On the sales side, 83% of that are distressed asset sales. Of the 83%, 85% are all cash deals, and 30% of those are foreign investors from Latin America, Spain, Canada, Germany, and Australia mostly. So cash is king in this market.
Cash is king.
We are seeing lending loosen up. We've got quite a number of lenders that have come back to the market. It's not nearly as, we had a kind of a dry spell there in 2008 or 2009, but a lot of banks and commercial lenders are back in the market, very carefully scrutinizing deals. But right now we're still seeing, especially in the distressed area, mostly cash. Now I've got to differentiate the markets a little bit because I'm talking about mostly distressed assets, but there are kind of 2 classes of assets. We've got our trophy assets and our trauma. Trauma being distressed, trophy being the Class A properties. Those trophy deals are trading at very aggressive cap rates.
Okay.
Multifamily, whether it's trophy or trauma, is very strong right now. Industrial is still very strong.
When you say strong cap rate, again, educate the general public here. What does that mean?
Well, on the in terms of the trophy assets, I say aggressive cap rates, meaning the capitalization rates are low.
Low.
That the return on the investor's money, is low relative to what they may otherwise ideally want.
It's a safer asset for them, so they're going to get less return, but they feel safer.
Right, exactly. And that's these trophy, these Class A properties, or a lot of the multifamily. Even if they're not Class A, it's a highly multifamily apartment buildings, all condominium sales are very hot right now.
Why is that? Why is that?
I think because everybody needs a place to live.
Yeah.
The American dream, as people put it, may not be what it was some years back when everybody thought they could buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people are going back to renting, and so the rental opportunities, the rental market is stronger, and people are looking to invest in that market. A lot of them are buying the distressed ones, not so much based on what the return is going to be today, but recognizing that they've got to invest some money right now, and over the long term it's going to be a strong investment, because if they're in the right neighborhoods and the right markets, they're going to rent up relatively quickly and stabilize quickly, meaning that they'll have enough rent, enough cash flow to cover their expenses, and then start to increase their rent a little bit as things get even better and as they fix up more units.
Okay.
On the leasing side, the South Florida market, you really have to look at that on a sub-market by sub-market basis. For instance, the Coral Gables sub-market we think is relatively stabilized. We're still seeing some pre-rent, but a lot less than we saw last year. It's a strong market as compared to its neighboring markets of Miami and Brickell. Brickell is kind of the financial district of South Florida.
Right.
We've seen a lot of lateral movement in those markets out of what were Class A buildings into new, and may still be Class A buildings, but now they're moving, large law firms moving into brand new Class A buildings that last year and the beginning of this year really were giving some nice incentives for those moves.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not a lot of new movement into the market. All those moves into the new buildings, two in particular that came online a couple of years ago, have left a lot of vacant space in that market. In addition, in the Class A area, we've got a building called 600 Brickell that was under construction, basically shuttered the construction until last year, revamped up the construction, and now they're coming online leasing. They've got 500,000 square feet that they're starting to lease. So that market is still very, very
Bruce,
competitive.
I think I could probably talk to you for the full hour, because obviously you know the market. You are very well educated in this area, but we're going to need to go over the 30-minute break. Tell us how people can get a hold of you in 30 seconds or less, if you would.
Okay. Again, my name is Bruce Kassman. I'm with Colliers International, South Florida. Our main phone number is 305-446-0011. It's 305-446-0011. Our website is www.colliers, COLLIERS.com/Miami. The office is at Coral Gables at 95 Merrick Way, Suite 380, Coral Gables, Florida 33134.
Bruce, that is beautiful. Thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate you. Are a great interviewee, and we'll have you on another time.
Thank you very much, Doug. It's been a pleasure, and as always, it's a pleasure to work with you. And
take care. Okay, we're back. This is National Real Estate Auction Radio Show. We're broadcasting live from beautiful St. Augustine, Florida. We've got a new caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Doug. It's Walter House with House Auction Company.
Well, excellent. Thank you for calling in, sir. And we've talked before. We've met before. We actually met at the National Auctioneers Convention in Orlando. I'm going to say 6-7 weeks ago. That was a great convention. Tell us a little bit about why you went to the National Auctioneers Association conference.
Doug, many years ago when we got into the auction business, we became active in the National Auctioneers Association because it's simply the professional trade organization for professional auctioneers. Mm-hmm. It offers the cutting-edge educational opportunities for auctioneers, and especially real estate auctioneers, to learn the latest in technology and marketing resources, but also to network with other auction professionals across really the nation and, in fact, the world. We have quite a number of auctioneers that come from overseas, a good contingency that come from South Africa. So it's an opportunity to network and learn from folks in this profession. And, from the very first NAA conference and show that I attended, I realized real quick I'd never miss one of those. So it was good to see you there.
Well, it was great to see you, and actually we broadcast our Friday show from the convention, so that was exciting for me, and to see everybody again. Tell us a little bit about how you got into the auction business.
Gosh, been around auctions all my life and fascinated with them. So I started like most auctioneers. I enrolled in a accredited auctioneer school. I went to the Mendenhall School in North Carolina and acquired my auctioneer's license, and then began to acquire licenses in other states. Initially, I worked as a contract auctioneer for other companies before incorporating and founding House Auction Company, which we're headquartered in North Carolina, and now we're licensed real estate brokers and auctioneers in 4 states.
Hey, before I forget, what is your website? Because I'm going to be talking about a lot of things, but people will want to know how to get a hold of you. What is your website, Walter?
Of course, www. It's houseauctioncompany.com, and all the words are spelled out all together. Houseauctioncompany.com.
Excellent. And tell us exactly in North Carolina where you're from.
We're headquartered in the eastern part of North Carolina, right outside of Morehead City, and very active throughout North Carolina, as well as Virginia and South Carolina. Being on the eastern shore, we sell quite a bit of waterfront property, and it's become somewhat of a specialty for us within our real estate auctions.
Nice. So you do a lot of real estate auctions?
Essentially, that's what our company is. We're a real estate auction firm. Occasionally, there's some personal property that's in the project with the real estate, but yes, we sell all types of real estate at auction, farms and acreage, residential properties, homes, quite a bit of waterfront property, undeveloped land, commercial properties, and the like.
Well, very, very, very good. Tell us, you are a MarkNet Alliance member. How did you get involved with them, and why did you join?
We did. We're proud members of the MarkNet Alliance, which I think now is 44 auction companies across the United States. We saw the marketing resources and technology that MarkNet was going to afford. We got into it in its early stages, and it was formed simply by a group of already well-established auction companies across the country who had proven track records and success, and simply pooled resources to develop advanced technology, internet bidding platforms, marketing resources that simply were cutting edge and we couldn't get anywhere else. So we were real tickled to join the MarkNet Alliance. I think it's now 44 companies across the country. They're all strong, established auction companies, and it gives us an opportunity, for example, to put all of our auctions on the other 43 members' websites. So it's just incredible exposure for the properties that we're representing for our clients. I think last year the MarkNet Alliance group collectively sold over $500 million worth of assets. And of course, the network has also allowed us to develop and build quite a base of bidders and buyers across the nation, which simply just benefits our clients.
Well, I guess you're saying the strength in numbers, and let me give you some numbers because I was with Matt Corso at the NAA convention, is 720,000 investors in their database, which has got to be unbelievable for a firm like yours to draw from. And also, the website has become a go-to place for investors because at any single time there's 200 to, I've seen it, up to 1,000 auctions at any given time on marknetalliance.com. So people come there to find out what's happening and where can I buy at auction. And so there's 440,000 individual users, unique individual users that go to the website each month. And that's got to be a big help to a company like yours.
It is. It's a huge help, and it's just phenomenal how much more exposure you get by marketing the properties that we sell within the MarkNet Alliance network. Mm-hmm. It is phenomenal.
Well, do you have any past real estate auctions, or upcoming real estate auctions that you want to tell us quickly about?
Doug, we did about 5-6 weeks ago. We had a real successful land auction in Carteret County, which is right on the east coast of North Carolina. Mm-hmm. Sold 51 acres, which was divided into 6 different tracts. And it had some recreational and hunting tracts. It had some residential properties. One of the properties had a custom log cabin on it. We offered the properties divided and then allowed the buyers to put them in combinations. Just very well attended. We had great response to the marketing. Got it all sold and exceeded our sellers' expectations by about 18 or 20%.
Nicely done. Nicely done. And we've worked with you before, Rowell Auctions has, and that's a strange thing for, maybe people outside the auction business, because you think of, oh my gosh, he's a competitor, but in many cases we work together. How's that work?
We have thoroughly enjoyed our alliance with Rowell Auctions. Of course, they're headquartered in North Carolina. They're in Georgia. We're in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. But we're really in multiple states. On some of our large land auctions, we've had the Rowell auction team come up and collaborate with us on it. And it's just bringing a lot more resources and manpower to an auction project at no additional cost to the seller. It's like getting 2 armies for the price of one. We've had the pleasure of going down to Georgia and working with Rowell on some of their large projects. So, no, they're not a competitor, but they're very much an ally and a real strength and resource that we're able to bring to our sellers.
Well, I thank you for calling in, Walter. Tell us your website again and how people can get a hold of you.
Our website is, of course, houseauctioncompany.com, and it's spelled out in all words completely. Houseauctioncompany, spelled out, .com, and our main office is 252-729-1162. Again, we're just pleased to be with you today, and real pleased to be a member of the MarkNet Alliance. It's just it's been a real success, win-win situation for us.
Walter, thank you so much. Is there a telephone number, because some people aren't internet savvy or they want to talk to somebody in person? What's your telephone number there?
Again, the number is 252-729-1162. I'll give it again, 252-729-1162. There's someone in the office always during normal business hours and after hours. They will talk to a live, breathing human being. We have a real fine answering receptionist service. So if they're on the West Coast and want to call at 11 o'clock at night, pick up the phone and call us, and they will not get an answering machine, but they'll be talking to one of our representatives.
Walter, it's a pleasure been to meet you and to talk to you. Look forward to working with you again.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you so much.
Take care now.
Take care. Bye.
Okay, we lost that caller, but we'll hopefully get him back. And I thank Walter House from being on the show. We've had two great interviews today. We've had Bruce Kassman from Colliers in Miami, Florida, talking about the market down there, but also very successful auction. Let's get this caller back. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Doug.
Hey, Walter. Walter Liff from Action Auctions, Newcastle, New Hampshire. Walter, thank you for calling in, and I am very pleased to say that we are working together again.
Yes, we are, Doug, and I'm really pleased for that as well. I'm anxious to work with you and Raw Auctions. It's going to be an exciting experience, and so far it's been a wonderful and successful experience.
Well, we're just talking to the gentleman before, his name was Walter too. He's from North Carolina. He's an auctioneer, and what we're saying is that it's kind of strange from people outside the auction profession, but there's many times that auctioneers work together to benefit the client and to benefit the service they provide. And we were pleased. I was pleased to work with you. I don't even want to figure out the number of years ago it was. It was probably 20 years ago, maybe more. And one of the first auctions we did together, we joined together, was Golden Eagle up in New Hampshire, which was a condominium development. And I remember this because we had Dan Sklar on our show, who was a prominent attorney in the Manchester, New Hampshire area, and we discussed that a little bit. Do you remember that sale, and can you kind of give the highlights?
Well, I remember that sale, yes. We did an absolute sale up there. It was 104 or 105 condominium units. We had over 1,000 registered bidders. It was exciting. It was all live auction at that time. Best of my knowledge, there wasn't any online auction being done at this time.
No, not at all. Not at all.
This should open up a whole new bidding arena, being able to offer this as an online auction that we're going to be doing shortly in Maine together.
Well, tell us about that auction.
That particular auction we're going to be doing is in Wells, Maine, which is a resort town in between Algonquin, Maine, and Kennebunkport, Maine, which is really highly sought-after summer resort for Canadian people, as well as many people in the South, because there's so many nice beaches so close in that particular area.
Mm-hmm.
Particular motel and cottages that Raw Auction is going to be auctioning off together with Action Auctions. It's called the Sleepy Town Motel and Cottages, right on U.S. Route 1 in Wells, Maine. This is a very busy road. There's about 17,000 cars per day go by this during the summertime. And it's,
how many?
We have 38 cottages, 42 motel units. There's a restaurant on the property, a pool, a colonial home, a 10-bunk dorm room as well. It's just very exciting to be offering this to the general public.
But you said how many cars travel by in the summer?
17,000 cars per day on the average. There's been counts anywhere from 17 to 20,000 cars per day go by this particular site.
Wow.
It's right off of I-95. It's not easy access to I-95, and we have an Amtrak railroad station very close. And it's a highly sought-after summer vacation area.
And you're close to Boston too, right?
Oh yeah, we're only about 90 miles from Boston.
Okay.
This particular site here, they could either keep it. We have it up on the rawauctions.com now that they can get additional information on the particular site. It's rawauctions.com. And if they didn't want to use this as an ongoing business that it is now with hotels and cottages, we have preliminary approvals on this property for either an RV park, 112-unit life care facility, and or a 192-unit motel. That could be a new flagship motel versus these cottages and motels. And I'd like to share with you also, it's sort of unique, all these cottages are condominiumized, so if somebody wanted just to sell off individual cottages once they own this, it's already in place that they could do that as well.
Wow. It sounds like there's a whole bunch of investor database that we could go after to kind of say, hey, this is something that you want to do. Or we could also go after the Bob Newhart scenario where it's getting time to retire, or I'm done with the rat race from New York and Boston, and I'd like to go up to that beautiful area of Wells, Maine, and do a great job with a motel and cottage.
Oh, very well put. Absolutely right, and it's almost turnkey ready for that new owner to do that.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell us again how far from I-95, and tell us about the property one more time, because that's important for our people. Then I'm going to ask you about how they can contact you, because you know the most about the property, along with RowellAuction.com website.
Well, I can share with you, it's a highly desirable 10-plus acres. It's on the east side of busy Route 1. It's between Boston and Portland, Maine. It's right in between them. It's about 90 miles from Boston and maybe 30 miles from Portland, Maine at the max. We have 17 to 20,000 traffic count. We're about 3 miles from I-95. And once you get off at the Wells exit and get to Route 1 and head north, we're only 0.2 of a mile from the intersection of 109, major intersection there, and Route 1, 2 sleepy town motel and cottages.
Well, it's a great place. You and I have been there, and we're able to have the opportunity to auction this off. It's a lender-approved auction. We're hoping people will look on the website, RowellAuctions.com. Tell us what your telephone number is if people want to call you individually to find out more.
My telephone number is area code 603-431-6317.
And you have been in the auction business how long?
For 24 years. I'm a licensed auctioneer and real estate broker both in New Hampshire and Maine.
Well, Walter, it's a pleasure to work with you again. I'm so happy that our paths crossed again, and let's do more and more of this. Have a successful sale on September 21st. Again, go to the website, RowellAuctions.com. And,
September 20th.
Go ahead, what?
September 20th.
I'm sorry, September 20th. My fault. I wasn't looking at the right paper. September 20th. And again, you have a wonderful firm there, Action Auctions, and I thank you for your call today.
Thank you, Doug. Look forward to a successful auction with you and Raul.
You bet. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
MarkNet Alliance is a national, membership-based network of 41 auction companies. Our companies are successful auction professionals with proven track records and thriving businesses. The MarkNet companies have a staff of over 540 employees who are working hard every day to meet the goals of their clients during our ever-changing economy. MarkNet companies are able to achieve these goals through cutting-edge technologies and ever-growing investor pools. To view the hundreds of auctions currently being conducted, or for more information, visit marknetalliance.com.
All right, Walter Liff from Action Auctions in Newcastle, New Hampshire. I want to talk about our sponsor. Our sponsor is Rowell Auctions. They are a national real estate auction firm that started in 1936. They do online auctions, on-site auctions, and ballroom auctions. They have offices in Florida, New Jersey, California, and Georgia. They have alliances with auctioneers and real estate brokers across the country, and you just heard from two of them today. We heard from Walter House from North Carolina, who's doing an auction with us, and also you've heard from Walter Liff, who is an auctioneer in the New Hampshire, Maine area, and we're doing an auction for them. So Rowell Auctions does government auctions, bank auctions, bankruptcy auctions, and much, much more. They have a big auction schedule coming up. Check out their website at RowellAuctions.com. That's RowellAuctions.com. Or you can call them at 800-823-8388. That's 800-323-8388. And again, We are pleased that Rowell Auctions and MarkNet Alliance is our sponsor and have been doing this for the past few months. Want to go back and talk about what I was discussing in the first part of the show. And the first part of the show is that there is a auction bill that is being considered and co-sponsored by Scott Brown, who is a senator from Boston, Massachusetts, and also a California representative. And they're going to be sponsoring a bill that says, okay, there is government properties that are unused. We need to auction them off. We need to auction them off to get money for the budget, which, of course, is a great idea. But also, when the government has properties, it just doesn't sit there. It costs money to keep them in the same shape. They have upkeep cost. There's a potential of vandalism. There's a potential of liability. There's insurance issues. And so if they're just being unused, they're costing the country money. And so this is what Scott Brown, the senator from Boston, is putting together with a congressman from California, and I believe it's Denham, and they are going to be co-sponsoring a bill to auction this surplus property that government has. Now, it's also very good because not only will the sale of the property help our government with monies, but it's also important that once you sell it to an end user, a taxpayer, now they are paying money to the federal government and to help the budget. They're paying taxes, which they're not paying. No one's paying taxes on these properties right now. What are we doing with them? And so kudos to Senator Brown for coming up with this, and Congressman from California for co-sponsoring it. I'm not sure when the bill is going to be taking place. I'm hoping that one day I will get up there and thank them for that and tell them of all the auction successes for the federal government that we have done, other auction companies have done. It's the most fair, most transparent thing to do if you are the government. When you have properties that you sell, if you can put them up for auction, everybody is playing by the same rules. Everybody is playing by the same rules. They have to come up with the same deposit. They have to close at the same time. They have to abide by the terms and conditions of the auction. And so it's very fair. With internet auctions, you can actually see the bidding in process. You can see that bidder 506 is bidding $4.2 million. This is your chance to go $4.3 million. This is the most fair way to get rid of these properties, add monies to the government budget, and to have continuing funds come in from the taxpayers. And if you're listening, real estate media and politicians, not only on a national level, but a state level, on a county level, on a city level, this is the way to do it. You cannot be more fair than to have an auction and to have everybody be able to bid on the same terms. You don't have to go back and say, well, geez, I would have bid more. You had the opportunity. How come that guy bought it, in a regular sale? I would have paid more, put more money down. No need for that. In an auction, all the terms are the same. It is the most transparent. It is the most perfect way to sell for the government. And I know that Obama had said that there was 14,000 office buildings. President Obama said there were 14,000 office buildings we need to get rid of. So again, kudos to the president, kudos to Senator Brown and Congressman Denham for getting this together. I thank you very much to listen in, and on YouTube, on RowellAuctions.com. We will be back next week. Thank you very much.